I'm Eaglemike, and we're going to talk about finishing up the install of the balancer lever upgrade, also known as the Doohickey. And we want to give you a close look. Now this bike is a little different. It's a 1992 and it has the shorter shaft in it, so you can see it doesn't come all the way out to the edge of the Doohickey or through, but you can see that it's still going to work. It's retained in place by the bolt here, and we'll just loosen that half a turn when we're ready to adjust it. And the torsion spring here will rotate it to take the slack out of the balancer chain right here. So that's how the system works. This is one of the balancer weights, and then there's one on the other side of the engine mirroring this, and then there's one up inside. You can see where the chain runs up here into a shaft, and the weight is actually in the center of the crankcases, and all these weights spin counter to the direction of the engine. So now we're going to show you how to put the rest of it together. And you'll start by making sure that we have the spacers. These are washers or collars on the crankshaft, and they go between the sprocket that drives the cam chain and the big starter gear. So now we're going to put the big starter gear, and you can see that I have the key in place, and I've center punched it in the middle and tapped it into the slot so it'll stay there. It doesn't fall out easily. So now we'll put our starter gear on. Now we'll put our washer on. Now we're going to wipe the excess oil from here. And we'll make sure our starter key is about parallel. You can see it doesn't stick out a whole lot, maybe 1 millimeter. And we'll wipe the inside of the taper here. Now the trick to installing this easily is I'm going to put my thumbs on the inside, my fingers on the outside, and then I'm going to turn this starter gear as I put it into place. And I'm going to go like this, and I'm wiggling this, and there we go. It's as easy as that. So now we'll put our rotor bolt in place and torque it up. We'll use our, this is a shop, so it's been used many times, a shop rotor holder wrench. And then now we're going to torque. Let's see, we'll get a extension on the socket here. Okay, and I'm going to back out and let Bob get around on the other side. Okay, so you can see it stays in place. It's resting on the foot peg here, and I made sure it's sitting on the flats. And so we'll make sure the gear turns as we do this. If it binds, we have to stop and see what's causing the problem. Okay, there we go. Now we'll finish putting the rest of the parts together. This is our first gear we put in. We put the larger side to the back against the starter, and we've got washers on the front and on the back. We put that in there. The next thing we put in is the pin right here. And then we'll put one washer. And then we'll put a needle bearing and another needle bearing, and then we'll put our gear in. And like this, if it doesn't fully mesh, we'll just turn the starter gear, the big one, just a little bit, and then it slides in. We'll put our other washer on. And now what I do is I let my fingers overlap into the case a little bit, because the magnet's going to try to pull it into place. There we go. So now all we have to do is just put the screws in, tighten them up, put the timing and rotor bolt covers in place, and we're done.